It does not start with laziness. It starts quietly. A task enters your awareness. Not difficult, not impossible, just present. And almost immediately, something in you tightens. You check your phone. You open another tab. You tell yourself you will start in a minute. And the strange part is you are not relaxed. You are tense. You are thinking about the task the entire time you are avoiding it. That is the part most people miss. Procrastination is not rest. It is psychological friction. If procrastination were about being lazy, it would feel good, but it does not. It feels heavy. It feels noisy. It feels like carrying something you refuse to put down. So the question is not why you do not do the task. The real question is what happens inside you when you imagine doing it. Because procrastination is not a time management problem, it's a nervous system response. When you sit down to do something meaningful, something with weight, evaluation, identity, or consequence, your brain does not just see a task, it sees exposure. Exposure to judgment, exposure to failure, exposure to confirming a fear you have been carrying quietly. And the nervous system has one job: reduce threat. Psychologists call this task-related avoidance, but that label does not capture the experience. What is actually happening is simple. The task activates an emotional signal, often anxiety, shame, pressure, or self-doubt. Your brain responds by reaching for relief. Not long-term relief, immediate relief. Scrolling, cleaning, reorganizing, planning instead of starting, researching instead of acting. These behaviors are not random. They are regulation strategies. They lower emotional intensity in the moment. That is why procrastination is so persistent. It works. Temporarily. The nervous system learns an early rule. If something makes me feel exposed, I should delay. For many people, this rule was learned long before adulthood. If you grew up where mistakes were criticized, where performance was tied to approval, where being seen carried consequences, your brain learned something important. Visibility is risky. So now, as an adult, tasks that involve output, writing, submitting, deciding, committing, do not just feel like work, they feel like stepping into a spotlight without armor. That is why procrastination increases around things that matter. People do not procrastinate equally. They procrastinate most around things tied to identity, things with unclear standards, things that could be judged, things that could confirm doubt. This is not laziness. It is threat prioritization. The brain treats emotional threat like physical threat. It doesn't ask if it's rational. It asks if it will hurt. When the answer is unclear, the safest move is delay. There's a deeper mechanism underneath this. Procrastination protects identity. If you never fully start, you never fully fail. If you delay, the outcome stays hypothetical. Hypothetical failure hurts less than confirmed failure. So avoidance preserves possibility. As long as the project is unfinished, you can believe you would have done well. You just didn't have the right time. You could do it when you're ready. That belief insulates the self. But there's a cost. Short-term protection becomes long-term erosion. Each delay sends a signal inward. I don't trust myself to face this. That signal accumulates. You begin to feel unreliable to yourself. Your mind becomes a place of unfinished loops. This is why procrastination is exhausting. Not because of what you are not doing, but because of what you are carrying. The task stays active in the background. Your nervous system never fully settles. You are always about to start. Eventually, the brain learns another rule. Starting feels worse than avoiding. At that point, even small tasks feel heavy. This is why advice like "just do it" fails. The problem is not action. The problem is emotional load. When people finally start after long delay, they notice something strange. The task itself is not as bad as the anticipation. Anticipation amplifies threat. Reality often reduces it. Avoidance prevents that correction. So the brain keeps overestimating danger. Over time, procrastination becomes a self-relationship pattern. You see yourself as someone who delays, someone who struggles to start, someone who works under pressure. But pressure is not a solution. Pressure is fear with a deadline. It forces action by overwhelming the nervous system. That is why last-minute success still feels draining. You never learned safety around effort, only urgency. There's another layer. Procrastination can protect you from success. Success creates expectation, visibility, responsibility. If achievement feels like pressure, staying unfinished feels safer. So the mind delays, not because it doesn't want the outcome, but because it fears what comes after. This is why procrastination pairs with perfectionism. Perfectionism is not high standards, it's fear of exposure. If I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. That logic protects you and traps you. So what breaks procrastination? Not discipline, not motivation, not productivity tricks. Those target behavior, not threat. What changes the pattern is quieter, lowering the emotional cost of starting. When the nervous system no longer reads the task as danger, avoidance loses purpose. This does not happen through force. It happens through accuracy. Accuracy about what you fear. Accuracy about what is actually at stake. Accuracy about how much of the fear is old. Procrastination dissolves when starting no longer feels like exposure without protection. Until then, the mind chooses relief over resolution. So, if you think you are lazy, undisciplined, or broken, you are misreading the signal. You are not avoiding work, you are avoiding a feeling. Until that is acknowledged, productivity will always feel like a fight. Not because you can't act, but because your nervous system learned long ago that starting was unsafe. That is the psychology of procrastination. Not a flaw, not a moral failure, a strategy that once made sense and no longer does.